Hey, how you doing, Dana?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jerry.
So how you're out in Florida? How's the weather right now?
Pretty good. We've been getting like sprinkle showers, but it's been pretty hot, 80 degrees. At night, it's nice, around 70.
Man, we're getting hit with some rain today, but the sun's gonna be coming out after I think on Saturday. After that, I think we should be
Okay,
good out here in Los Angeles. So I wanted to get on
nice.
this call. I mean, we've been kind of following each other, and I thought it would be
Hmm.
a cool get a perspective during this time, both from like the fitness, kind of strength and conditioning, along with maybe some mobility, stretching. As you're a
Yeah.
licensed massage therapist, so I'm like, hey, this would be perfect for people that are at home, probably not moving as much, so we can give them some fitness ideas, some healthy, nutrition ideas, but along with some ways that kind of alleviate some pain that they may be having because they're not used to sitting for
Hmm.
long periods of time. Okay. So we made a
Okay.
presentation. So if you're watching this, we made a presentation. We're going to go over some really quick overview, some slides, and hopefully you can get some nuggets out of it. Always feel free wherever you're watching this, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, leave a comment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment. Let us know kind of what you got out of it. And if you have any follow-up questions, more than likely we're going to be doing a lot more videos, and we can answer some more of your questions, along with filming some more, maybe some videos of Dana showing some stretches. I can show you some exercises you can do at home. So a
Hmm.
lot of tutorials coming your way. So just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So we're going to screen share onto the PowerPoint presentation. And again, if you have any questions, write them down as you're going along and then drop them in the comments section. You ready, Dana?
Sounds good. I'm ready.
All right. So are you able to see the full screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we titled it as 7 Habits to Help Keep Your Physical and Mental Health in Shape During COVID-19. All right, and so if you don't know me, my name is Jerry. I'm based out of Los Angeles. I own a strength and conditioning facility, do some personal training as well, working with athletes, general pop, a little bit of everything. And yeah, so I love the whole fitness, nutrition, the whole health aspect. And sadly, during this time, everyone is pretty limited. My gym has been shut down for almost a month now, so we're all trying to kind of get through this
Mm.
together. And our goal as fitness professionals and health professionals is to hopefully give you some tools that you could be using at home. So when everything hopefully blows over, we are back. You're healthy. You're not starting going, digging yourself a hole and feeling sluggish and feeling great. So Dana, can you really quickly touch on kind of where you're at, what you're up to?
Sure. My name is Dana Solar. I'm a licensed massage therapist out of Florida in Port St. Lucie. I work mostly at the X House gym. So I do a lot of recovery
X
sessions,
House.
some active and passive, just depends on the goal. But I love doing relaxation sessions too. So there's many things you can do at home to just settle your mind and ease your body through this different time that we're experiencing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about some 7 things that you could be
Mhm.
doing today to help you stay physically and mentally fit. And I think one part is the mental side of it. This kind of
Yeah.
thing that we're going through, it's taking a toll not on just the physical side. Maybe we're not moving as much. Maybe we're eating not so well, but the mental side
Yeah.
of it is, to me, probably even more important, because once you lose the kind of the mental aspect or your mental health, everything just kind of, it's a domino effect. So a lot of these
Right.
things have a kind of a holistic approach, right? Where this gets better, this gets better, this gets better, this gets better. It's all encompassing, all kind of taking the body as a whole, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. First one is going to be, I'm going to take this one. So it's take a daily walk. Now, the very first thing I want to go over is, this is with the caveat, is depending on where you are at in the world. Here in the States, every state has some slightly different guidelines. I know somewhere maybe like in New York City, you probably can't even be out and
Mm.
about. I just talked to one of my
Right.
boxers who lives in Madrid, they cannot even go outside. And literally, if you're not going to get groceries, that is the only time you can be outdoors. Other than that, you're getting hit with like $1,000 fine, and they're not playing. So my boxer and his wife have not been out of their house for like almost a month, not at all, besides just getting groceries. So again, this is a caveat. Here in SoCal in Los Angeles, the guidelines state that you can go out for a walk, even for a run. You can't use the trails, you can't use the beach, and you can't be with a group. If you're with one person, you just have to have that 6-foot social distancing, and they won't give you a ticket. But if you're in groups, or if you're doing a trail where it's closed, they're going to give you a ticket. How is it out there where you're at?
It's super similar to what you're describing in California. I think it's actually a little bit more lenient. A lot of the parks are closed, but some private beaches are still open. People are still going out on runs and be within a group of 10 or more, 6 feet of social distancing. But Starbucks is still open, Publix is still open, but people are being more aware of using their gloves, of switching their gloves now. I see a lot of people being just more competent with their use of like hand sanitizer, things like that when they're out and about.
Yeah, and again, be smart. And we're not telling you, hey, go out for a walk. But this could be also like going, in front of your house or your apartment. Just go down your sidewalk. Like the goal is just to get the legs moving, your body moving. So be really smart. We're not just advocating go out for a walk and disregard the guidelines. Take a look at what they're saying where you're at, and if you can, go for a daily walk. And kind of the reasons why we're advocating this is the mental side of it. Is, I know for me, I probably go out for 1 or 2 walks a day, and it's usually when I'm feeling a little anxiety, when I'm feeling a little stress. A 10-15 minute walk does wonders. And I put on my headphones, I listen to a podcast. Usually it's some type of personal development, inspiration, motivation type stuff, and I come back just feeling good, especially when the sun is out. So kind of the first thing is that mental side of it. The second thing from a physical standpoint is, if you're feeling really stressed, a lot of anxiety, maybe some depression, your blood pressure might be rising. Even if you don't have high blood pressure, the more added stress that's not, coped with, it's probably going to increase your blood pressure. So a good 10-15 minute walk can help lower your blood pressure, along with help maintain healthy blood glucose levels. So even though you may not be a diabetic, you might be intaking more carbs and more sugar than you're used to, and you're not moving as much. Your blood sugar over time might start to increase a little bit. So just literally, for diabetics, walking is one of the best things you could do. And it doesn't have to take that much. It just means you're getting some of those muscles active, and you're burning off some of that blood glucose. So those are 2 ways that we can definitely help improve both the mental and the physical side of it. And it just takes 10-15 minute walk. Now, when it comes to burning calories, you're not going to burn that many, right? You're looking at 50 to 100 calories an hour or per mile, but that's really not why you're doing this. The goal of the walk is not to just smoke through calories, because 100 calories could be, a bite of a burger, right? That's not the goal. But it's all the other stuff along with vitamin D. So if you're in a place that has some sun and you have parts of your body that's exposed, you're going to get that vitamin D. And then overall improve your mood. So don't look at walking as just for calorie burning and staying in shape. It's more the holistic approach. What do you think, Dana?
No, I'm a huge advocate for jamming out when I'm feeling low, and going for a walk, listening to your favorite tunes. It shifts your mood. It gives you something else to think about. So huge advocate for this. And I think it's a nice transition into getting into more high intensity later on, but there's levels to this. So start with a walk and get that endurance up.
And especially like if you can see the picture, like if you have a pet, I'm sure everyone that has a pet, their dog or their pet are looking at the human like, wait a minute, we haven't walked this much in forever. Like, your dog doesn't want to go on 5 walks. They want to go on maybe 1 or 2, but your dog's probably looking at you like, man, another one? All right, so try to, if you can, go out, get a nice little walk in, and you can even set like a reminder on your phone every few hours, go out. Okay, next one. Let's talk a little about nutrition. So you can see on this picture, I'm going to move our little screen over a little bit just for a quick second. So you got some salmon, You got some, it looks like some ham or some prosciutto, or maybe some pork. You got red meat, milk, eggs. You got some plant-based proteins. It looks like you got some chicken over here. Got some almonds and maybe some legumes and nuts and seeds, right? So when it comes to protein, why do we talk about this, especially during this time? One of the biggest things is protein is going to keep you fuller. So it's going to improve your, or increase your, or decrease, I'm sorry, decrease your satiety, right? Satiety is just your hunger. Having more protein is going to decrease that. Hopefully, therefore, you're not eating as many calories, right? Also, when it comes to protein, your body does not enjoy converting amino acids into glucose and eventually stored as fat. So it's not a very efficient process that your body likes to do. So can it? Of course, anything that has calories can be converted to glucose and eventually stored. But the protein macronutrient is probably the least, or not probably, it is the least macronutrient that's going to get converted to glucose through the body and eventually stored, versus carbohydrates and sugars and fats. That process is much more efficient with the body. So what are some things you can do? You can try swapping out some carbs or fats for protein rich meals. Or what I kind of tend to do is during this time, because I'm not moving as much, if I'm gonna have like a chicken and rice bowl, I'll just cut the rice serving in half, and then I'll get another serving of protein, and then I'll just turn that into 2 meals. So I'll add more protein from a percentage of that meal and lower the carbohydrates. And it's just because I'm probably not going to need that many carbohydrates, as I'm not going to be moving as much, and I want to stay fuller longer. So more protein is a good bang for your buck. When it comes to research, we definitely know that research has shown that higher protein intake is associated with improved body composition. So you can typically, people that have higher protein diets are leaner. They have lower body fat levels. And this recommendation, if you're looking at the screen, is you're shooting for, these are minimums, right? So this is 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram per day. So how do you get your kilograms? If you're out here in the States, we use pounds. So whatever your weight is in pounds, just divide it by 2.2. And then whatever that number is, you multiply that by 1.2, and that's going to give you how many grams a day. Okay, so if you look at these examples, if you weigh 180 pounds, you want a minimum of 100 grams per day. Again, this is minimum. If you weigh 130 pounds, you're shooting for 70 grams per day, right? Ideally, you want that number to be probably higher, especially if you want to try to retain as much muscle mass and stay leaner. So if you're that 180 pounder, you're probably looking at about 100 to 150. If you're the 130 pounder, maybe looking at 7 to 100 grams. Anything beyond kind of 1 gram per pound, probably not necessary. So if you can shoot for that higher end, you're doing a good job. And if you have a tough time getting it through food, always can use a protein shake. That'll give you about 25, 30 grams. Really simple. Whey protein works perfectly fine. If you're eating plant-based proteins, all that means is you're going to need more of it, because it's not going to be the equivalent from an animal source. So just bump that up, those numbers a little higher. And then when you're trying to have this protein, maybe try spacing out your protein meals about to 3 to 4 meals throughout the day. So instead of just eating tons of protein for dinner, try to have some protein, 25 to 30 in the morning, midday, a little snack, and then maybe in the evening. That way you're getting amino acids throughout the day. Anything you want to add, Dana, as far as like, what are you typically getting your protein from?
I eat a lot of fish. I like going to the stores and getting just a big pack of frozen fish, whether it's salmon, I'm splurging swordfish. That's my favorite. Pretty much from what I gathered from this, I'm going to stock up more in those taco shells and use less taco shells.
Or just, make double up that protein into put more
That's
protein
right.
into them.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this one's yours. So let's talk a little bit, or you can talk a little bit about hydration.
Okay. Since we're not moving as much, I hear a lot of times people forget to drink water, and just because you're not moving as much, it doesn't mean that you need less water. So just a good suggestion is getting a jug and setting alarms to just make sure that you're hydrating throughout the day. You can also get it from fruits, even though, water is the best source, but you can get it from watermelon, pineapple, anything that's juicy like that. It'll also help too if we're sedentary, so if we're sitting down for long periods of time, our muscles can become strained. So water helps with the hydration in our muscles as well. So that might curb some of the tension that you might get in like your neck that might cause headaches. So.
Yeah, and I think it just sometimes, I know for me, I tend to confuse, being dehydrated for being hungry. So instead of, there's times where I know, or at least I tell myself I'm hungry, but it's really just I'm thirsty.
Okay.
And so it's an easy way to kind of see if you're really hungry or maybe your body's just dehydrated. Try to shoot for some water first, get yourself some water, drink it, and then see if you're still hungry, because sometimes your body might be playing a little trick on you, and it's just
Right.
thirsty rather than being actually hungry, right? As far as like how much we should get, right? I mean, we looked up some things, and from like the National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, these are the recommendations. Is for men about 15 and a half cups a day, women about 11 and a half cups a day. Again, there's no specific intake amount that they recommend. These are just recommendations. If you're exercising more, probably going to need more. If you're not if you're already staying hydrated, like how you said, maybe eating tons of watermelon, fruits, and foods that have a lot of water, maybe you don't need as much. But a good way, what's a good way that people can tell if they're hydrated?
To get straight to it, check out your urine color. At the gym, we have a pee chart, but you just want to make sure that the color is a pale light yellow, and you know that you're hydrated. If it's darker than that, you should try to intake more water throughout the day. So
Nice.
just be, self-aware.
Nice. So check your, Dana says check your pee.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that as a sound bite.
Oh, God.
Okay, so now let's talk about the fun stuff. So you see all these goodies right here. We got some donuts, some cheese puffs, some jelly beans, good old Coke, Yoo-hoo, Cinnabon, and then this big old lollipop that tends to never be eaten all the way. Like, why do they make lollipops that big?
Oh, no.
Oh,
It looks more fun, I guess.
yeah. So let's talk about decrease in excess sugars and fats. So the first thing I want to talk about is this doesn't mean that carbs and fats are bad, right? This is not the logic. It just means unnecessary amounts of added sugars and fats. They can easily add up to calories. So one thing why you would want to back off on these things, especially right now, is with what's called NEAT, NEAT, and that stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So a fancy way of saying everything that goes off throughout the day that's not formal exercise. So that 1 hour that you spend working out, that's actually the purpose is to work out, everything else besides that is considered NEAT. So some examples might be walking at work, typing, standing versus sitting, performing yard work, even fidgeting. So people don't realize that even just moving your hands, your body, like that stuff burns calories. And most people think that an hour a day is where you burn your calories, but really most people, unless you're an athlete and you're exercising extremely hard, in an hour you're only probably burning 300 to 50 calories up to maybe 700. The rest of the day when you're awake, that is when you're burning the majority of your calories. So now that we're quarantined, you're just not going to be moving as much. You might be sitting watching Netflix on your phone, not just, and a lot of subconscious behaviors that you don't even know that you're not moving. It's going to decrease the amount of calories you expend per day. So in that case, it's very easy to overconsume on your daily caloric intake. That means like cereals, cookies, chips, juices, trail mix, and those types of things. And that also includes alcohol, that you got to make sure you're keeping that stuff in limited amounts, because you're not going to be able to have the opportunity to burn and expend that many calories. So are there any things kind of that you found that throughout the day maybe you're having to keep an eye on?
Oh yeah, especially at night. I don't tend to keep any snacks around me, I feel like that's like when the boredom hits. So again, just being self-aware about who you are, and I'll try to, be reading more at night. I'll make sure to look at the servings more now that I'm not moving as much, so I don't just eat the whole box of pretzels.
Yeah, no, it's
So
again, it's one of
portion
those things where
control. Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of boredom during this time, and a
Mhm.
lot of people, including myself, we eat because we're bored, right? I want those chips,
Right.
and because there's nothing else to do, so I want to snack on something. So you just got to
Mhm.
be kind of how you said, be very self-aware and mindful of making sure you're not doing it in excess. And one of the easiest way I think a lot of times is just drinks. Make sure you're not drinking tons of Gatorades, tons of sugary beverages and alcohol, because those calories can add up
Mhm.
real quick. And again,
Yeah.
so last point, this will be a great time to learn some new recipes and prepare and cook your own food at home. So you can go on YouTube and get so many free recipes, buy a cookbook, try out some new foods. I mean, you're going to be limited because you don't want to be going out grocery shopping, but try some new
Right.
spices. And I even think this would be a great time if you have kids, record some of this stuff, like put it on video and have it where maybe in 10 years from now, when all this stuff is blown over and your kids are growing up, you have some fond memories of being together and maybe having some laughs and some moments that you can cherish. So document some of this stuff. When you guys are in the kitchen, put your phone and just hit record and
Mhm.
let it record, save that stuff, because these are memories that more than likely you're not going to have this much time with your family probably in the rest of your life. This is times where you're going to crack some jokes, you're going to have some laughs, maybe even some cries, but it'll be a great time to document this stuff so you'll have some memories.
Nice.
Any recipes or anything that you've been doing?
As far as sweets,
No, just like
um,
meal prepping or cooking, any type of new thing
oh,
you're
for
doing.
sure. We get like these huge pasta shells, and we do our own like ground beef with like olives, onions, tomatoes, and it's kind of like it's always been a family thing. I'm Cuban, so cooking has been something in our family, but we have been doing it more often now. And like the kids get involved where they get to scoop the meat into the shells, and like everybody knows which ones are whose because some are prettier than others. We like making empanadas too. So just trying different recipes and seeing what works. Trial and error.
Yeah, a little birdie told me
Yeah.
that you have like this awesome recipe for like your grandma's dessert. Have you made
it,
that yet?
no, I have not found the merengue recipe yet. So no,
I'll be waiting. We'll make a video for that one for sure.
maybe.
Okay, this one is going to be
Yeah.
yours. Let's talk a little bit of stretching and mobility. What you got?
Yeah, I love this, especially now everybody's telling me that they're Netflixing all day. So they feel like a marshmallow. I love to start my day with a nice stretch. I wake up in the morning, I'll drink a glass of water to hydrate my organs, just wake up my body from the inside. And then it depends on what I'm feeling. I don't have like a set routine because I do different things throughout the week. So I just like to give my body that benefit of what does it need that day. So it could be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes of just neck stretches. Maybe my low back is what bothers me a lot when I first wake up. And then throughout the day, I get really tight hips because I run often now. So I'll try to do like a knees to chest, and I'll open it out to the side. Again, it just goes back to I try to listen to my body and I give it what it needs. Um, I don't try to stay in a position for more than like, if it's past 30 minutes, I'm getting up, and I'll just I'll do some bouncing on my toes, and then I'll sit back down, just trying to get that blood flow. So I hope that those are some good tips. People sometimes set alarms on their phone throughout the day, I heard, to remind them to move around. I know now we're on our screens more than ever on our laptops. So just make sure you can do a chin to chest, ear to shoulder without hiking up the shoulder. So those are simple things, nothing fancy, but just getting that synovial fluid
Yeah, no, those are
going.
great, really great tips. I think for me, it's just like I'm sitting more. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not on my feet, and my back gets super
Right.
tight. So like for me, like one of my areas is like, I think you mentioned the hip flexors and my piriformis. Like those muscles
Okay.
get so tight. And all it takes is literally 3 or 4 minutes of kind of stretching those things. And it gives me a good 2 or 3 hours. But I think it's one of those things where this is kind of very underrated, where we want to work out, which is great, but I think you don't want to be in pain. Or if you're not stretching and working on your mobility, you're not going to be able to get into full range of motions with your squat, your
Right.
lunges, your push-ups. So if your posture and you're very limited with your range of motion, it's going to transfer into having worse workouts. And if you want to build your glutes, that means you're not going to be able to go full range of motion, and it has a trickle down effect, and then eventually probably lead to some pain, right?
Right. I've noticed too, when people have a pain in a specific area, they tend to baby it. They don't want to move it at all. And that restricts range of motion for future.
Got it.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Great tips. Great tips. Okay, so now we're moving on to workouts. So sticking to your home workouts. Now, everywhere, I mean, you can tell every personal trainer, coach is putting out all these workouts on their social media, which is great, right? But what I'm finding is talking to people is it's becoming very overwhelming, because it's like you have exercise with bands, and then the person doesn't have bands. The person doesn't want to, hold the
Right.
broomstick with whatever on it. So my kind of thinking is just keep it basic. Don't overthink your workouts, right? If you've been working out with a trainer or going to the gym, do the same stuff that you probably already know. Body weight exercises work great, right? You can literally go on YouTube,
Right.
and I'm making a video right now with a just body weight workouts, but you can go on YouTube and just type in body weight
Awesome.
workouts and you'll find something. And the big thing is, okay, when you start with body weight workouts, that's great, but eventually you do want to progress it, right? So it's like you're not going to have access to what I have with big plates and a barbell. However, you do want to challenge your body. So over time, your body will get accustomed to it, and it's not going to respond the same. So you can have a backpack, put some textbooks in there, and that could add 10 pounds, 15 pounds to your movements. Bands if you have, water jug, and even partner assisted. So if you have kids, you have a partner at home, some things that you can easily do is just kind of like, if I stuck out my arm out, they're going to push into me, and I'm going to resist. And then they're going to give me resistance, and I'm going to push back. And essentially that's a dumbbell. And if you have someone that's relatively strong, they can
Okay.
give you some good amount of resistance. And you can do chest, you can do flies, you can do lat pull downs. If I'm doing a squat, they can put their hands on my shoulders and give me resistance as I'm pushing up. So there's so many ways, but the big take home message is don't overcomplicate it. Aim for about 30 minutes, and easy ways to progress. So maybe one week you do a routine. Now you can do the same routine the next week. Now to make it, what we call progressive overload, we can make it with more sets. So if you did 3 sets, try doing 4 sets. You can do more reps. So if you've done 3 sets of 10, next time shoot for 12. You can add resistance. So if you're not wearing a backpack, put one textbook in the backpack and do that routine. And then next week, put a second backpack or textbook and continue to progress that. How long it takes you to complete that workout. So if it takes you 35 minutes, see if you can do it in 33 minutes. That means you're performing more work in less period of, or the same amount of work, but less period of time. You can add rounds, and if you want to make it more kind of metabolic, you can add or you can do shorter rest periods. So if you're resting a minute, now next week rest 50 seconds and see if you can complete that workout. But the overall message: keep it simple. Don't get hurt. This is not the time where you want to be standing on wobbly stools and standing on
Right.
and just being really being very not so mindful of. It doesn't have to look so fancy, and doing
Right.
something is better than nothing. Now, I mean, what could you add to this, Dana?
I love accountability buddies. They keep me going. I have like 5. So even if you don't get in the full 30 minutes, if I see a friend who shoot me their video of them doing their best attempt at push-ups, it just kind of gives me that extra boost of I can do a little bit more. So even if you don't have a partner at home, I would say reach out to your friends and try to encourage each other to get moving. And it might give you ideas of what they're utilizing creatively around their house
Yeah,
too.
Great. I love that. And you know, another good way is if you have a heart rate monitor
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting MEPS and you're number one, like me, she's number two right now. Just so everybody knows, she's number two. I'm number one. That always adds some competition because that every time
Right.
I'm working out, I'm checking those things. So you
Yeah.
can find a way to be competitive with your friends and
Mm-hmm.
family because again, like Dana said, accountability is the number one thing. If you're not accountable to somebody, something, it's so easy to just be like, I'm not gonna do it today, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's gonna, nobody's gonna care and keep you accountable. And that is probably the best thing what Dana said about get a accountability buddy because it helps tremendously.
Makes it more fun too.
Yeah, definitely makes it more fun,
Mm.
especially if there's a competitive component to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about conditioning and some cardiovascular exercise. So let's talk about some easy ways that you could be getting some exercises. So the first one is really simple, is jump and rope. You don't even need a jump rope, you need a string. As you can tell the picture, you got some of your kids in there, make it into a fun
Yeah.
activity. You don't need that much space. You can do it just on your sidewalk, in your backyard, at a park. But it's $10, great investment. The caveat here is just make sure if you haven't jumped rope in a long time, be careful with doing too much too fast because you start to get some shin splints, knees, hips, things will start hurting. So progress. So start with 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
start with and then 6, 7, and so on. Excuse me, and make it fun. I mean, you can like how you said, maybe have a partner. They're doing jump rope and you're holding a plank, and then after a minute you switch, whatever it may
I
be.
like that. A circuit.
Circuit, yeah. Second, again, caveat is depending on where you're located. Over here where I'm
Mm-hmm.
at, there's tons of streets that have some nice little inclines, and I just sprint and then I walk down, sprint, do that for 20 minutes, and I have a great workout. Just be careful out there with cars and do them on the sidewalk, but these are accessible anywhere. Just make sure you're practicing the guidelines with your city and social distancing and things like that. If you're able to get to a park, I mean, most parks are going to have some type of hill or some stairs that you can
Mm-hmm.
see on the picture. Again, don't complicate it. Do go up the hill, whether you're walking, you're running, you're sprinting, jogging, and then walk down. So I typically, when it comes to like work to rest ratio, however long it takes me to go up the hill, I'll times that by at least 3. So if it takes me 30 seconds, I'm going to rest for a minute and 30. If it takes me 10 seconds, I'm going to try to rest for 30 seconds and just keep that cadence, right? So again, you can do 4 to
Okay.
1, 2 to 1, but for me, like a 3 to 1 ratio is enough where it doesn't tap me out and I'm jacking up my form and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to make it harder, you can just put on your backpack and walk up of it and walk up the stairs or the hills. That works as well. Going out for a jog. Again, depending on where you're at, I know a lot of people probably were not runners and now they're starting to run, which is awesome. You're
Mm-hmm.
getting outdoors, but the same thing with the jumping rope and running. Just be careful with doing too much too quick. I know you mentioned earlier you started running more. What are some tips that maybe you might have for someone out there that either is just starting to run or is starting to enjoy it?
Definitely increase the intensity over a period of time. I think that that's a huge mistake that people will go as much as they possibly can and then some the first day and then they're out for 2 weeks. Another thing that I recently did, I took a page from you and I purchased new running shoes. They're New Balances, and I feel the difference. The comfort has more cushion. So for those long distance runs, I don't have the same aches and pains. I feel comfortable. Um, so that's something that this quarantine has helped me with, just investing more in myself since I have more time to do this running and other hobbies. What
Nice.
else? Yeah.
Nice.
It just kind of goes back to being self-aware. Yeah.
Mhm. And another way is just biking. If you have a bike,
Mm-hmm.
road bike, beach cruiser, and you're able to, go for a nice little bike ride. Just be careful, but that's another great way to get some movement in.
Mm-hmm.
And last one, I forgot to put it on here, but it's gonna be reading. one of the things that I had a slide and I didn't save it, but I put that, you know, reading is probably going to be the one. A lot of times people don't have time to read. Now you got time.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you have to buy this crazy book. It can be a novel, it could be fiction, nonfiction, it could be articles. But this is a great time to pick up a great book, or pick up that book that you've been wanting to read that you probably already have. You just haven't started
Mm-hmm.
it, and take some time, you know, in 20 minutes every day, read 10, 20 pages. But this is a time where I've been reading like a ton, and I'm already a reader, but then it's just, you have the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage people, this is a great time to, you know, read with your kids, read with your partner, and then discuss some topics, and try to turn off the news. I think one of those things is everybody's watching the news, and we're seeing all
Right.
this, you know, nothing but negativity. um, Turn that stuff off and just, you know, pick up a book, and especially if it's a fiction book, you can get into your own little world and create, you know, be very creative with your storytelling. But what about you? I mean, are you reading anything? What are your recommendations?
Funny enough, I'm not so much as reading, but I'm going through. We have like this huge trunk of old photos, and like we're scrapbooking now.
Nice.
So it's kind of like going through family history, and that is kind of therapeutic in itself. Just bringing up old stories, hearing old stories from aunts and uncles. Um, I've been reading, but it's more like studying for myself, and just enhancing my craft, and just learning about more exercises. So that's what's been taking up my time.
Nice. And even again, we're when it comes
Yeah,
to reading, it could be a podcast as well. It could be a YouTube video of learning.
there you
So
go.
anything
Yeah.
that's hopefully going to distract you a little bit from the news, and just keeping that cycle of news running through your head all day long. I've had to limit
Hmm.
my ingestion of news because it's just too much sometimes. So
Yeah.
Dana, thank you for hopping on and giving us some tips. You can
Yeah.
follow us on Instagram, probably be the best place. But I think we're
Hmm.
gonna continue this, and then if you have any questions, wherever you're watching this, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just drop a comment below. Let us know what you got out of it. Let us know what's working for you. Maybe we didn't talk about a certain topic that's working for you and it can help other people.
Hmm.
Let us know. Drop a comment. And let us know maybe something if you want to learn some stretches. I'm sure we can do a video of that. But yeah, let's plan on doing some more of this stuff. I think people have the time to consume some of this stuff, and we can be kind of more of a positive outlet versus just a lot of the negativity out there that's out there right now.
Sounds awesome. I would love to share specific stretches. So let me know what your discomforts are, and we'll come up with a game plan for next time.
Yeah. So thank you. We'll get back to everyone. And if you want some more content, let us know. We're open to helping out as in any way as we can. All right. So everyone, thank you for your time, for taking the time and joining us. We'll be
Hmm.
back. We'll be back soon with another video. See you, everyone.